So welcome everyone to the book art workshop. We're going to make a paper wreath today. Let me just show you what that will look like. This is the idea of the workshop today. And there's a LED light that goes in the back. And you can't see it as well now with the lighting. It's so bright, but there is a light that shines through there. So this is what we'll be working on today.
Sorry, I jumped in and recorded. I noticed it.
And
I didn't want you to.
So let's start with what you all have in the supply kit that you picked up from the library. Most important thing, a section of book pages. These are actually from Reader's Digest. And so there's at least 25 pages in each. And I also added in some extra colored pages because that'll come in handy later. So those illustrations, you might also have illustrations in your 25 pages. So feel free to use, we'll get into that more later. So this is the Reader's Digest pages. This is a sheet of folded heavy cardstock. This is actually the support for the wreath. You would have gotten a sheet of scrapbook paper that's more decorated that you can also use if you like that design. And feel free to use anything you have on hand in the house if you make future wreath. You would have gotten an LED light, and if you want to go ahead, they turn on by moving the back to the right. So if you just turn it clockwise, just check that your light works. These are actually called party lights. We got them from Amazon. And so they're these are the kind that you would put in a balloon for a party. So, but supposedly they last at least 30 hours or more. So you just so you know, so Amazon is where we got the supplies if you need more of those. So this is the party light, and there's a little plastic ring that just, I think it is meant to help keep this in place once you turn it. Okay, you would have gotten a ribbon. I think you might have black ribbon, but anything that's strong enough, this will be used to hang the wreath. This will go in the back. So string, ribbon, it doesn't really matter. It's not really decorative. And coffee filter, this will help soften the light. The light's kind of bright. I found when I was making these that I really wanted something to help soften the light. So the coffee filter does a good job of that. Okay, so that's in your kit. And then the tools that will really come in handy if you have them at home. I think you'll really need them for this workshop. A pencil, glue, any type of white glue, Scotch tape, scissors, and if you have a ruler, that would come in handy probably. You can get by without it. So those are the tools to have on hand. And so let me show you how to get started. All right, so we take the, we'll start with the support. The white folded, this is heavy cardstock. So this isn't just regular paper. You can feel the weight of it. It's not just regular paper. It needed to be stronger to hold the whole wreath. So you take this, and basically what we're going to be doing is cutting out kind of the size of a CD. Go ahead and mark off on the fold. We want to have a folded part that does not get cut. So go ahead and mark off about 2 inches that we won't be cutting through that. That 2 inches will stay. This is what it'll look like in the end. You'll end up with a circle that has a fold on top. So go ahead and mark about 2 inches that won't get folded, that won't get cut. And then just draw a circle roughly the size of a CD. And so if you have a ruler, you can measure. This is about 5 inches. So, and again, this is going to be behind the wreath. This is not showing, so it doesn't have to be a nice circle. This is just going to support the wreath. So go ahead and draw that on each side of the 2 inches, and then we'll be cutting this out. Hopefully the heavy cardstock is okay to cut through 2 at a time. If for some reason your scissors aren't strong enough, you can cut 1 at a time. That's fine. We're just cutting out these shapes, and like I said, this will create the support. So we just cut out the center. And if anybody has a question of what I'm showing so far, please go ahead and unmute yourself if there's something you need to know about. Okay, we'll get rid of the scraps here. So this is what we have. Sorry. The circle has the fold on top. And now we need the hole in the center. So you can approximate where the center is, fold the circle in half, and that'll also show you the center. And like I said, this heavy cardstock is not the easiest thing to cut through. Just kind of make a V. You're just getting the hole started in the center there. And then just being careful, it just needs to be big enough for this light to go through. So you can work the hole with the pencil, and it's going through both sides of the cardstock, and it just needs to be big enough for the light to go through. So that's it. That's the structure of the wreath. And then to hold it up, we'll go over this at the end, but basically this ribbon will go under the fold, and it gets held up that way. We create a loop, and so this is the structure of the wreath. So does anyone have any questions so far? Hopefully everyone now has the circle created with the fold in the white cardstock. So this is the structure. The next step we'll do is I'll show you how to make the paper cones. So for this, most of the wreath, if you notice, this is really all text. On this one, this is the first one I made about a month ago, so it's holding up pretty well. One thing to be careful of is these edges. So, but all of this outer wreath, these are about 20 paper cones that create the wreath, and these are all text that I used. And then the only color is in the center. So this is one way to do it. So even if you want to add color, I would say you can roll at least 15 or 16 of these text, and then add maybe 4 color. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you the overall, just so you get an idea of where we're heading. So this is, you take the Reader's Digest page is roughly 5 inches across and 7 inches on the long end. So this is about the size of the paper And so you're just finding this. Notice one edge is nice and cut, and this is the rough edge. So when you're taking the paper from your stack, you'll end up with the rough edge. And that's not a problem. That's going to be the bottom of the cone, and that'll be hidden behind the decoration. So all you do is fold it in half on the rough edge. So you're finding the center. Now you're just rolling one side into the middle. So really it's this bottom part of the page is coming to the middle. I'll show that again. So you're just finding the center by folding, and then fold this so it's straight, so it ends up straight down like that. So that's the basic cone shape, and then just hold that in place. The other page gets folded over it, and that's it. So you have the point. You just want to end up with one point like that, and then Scotch tape the other end down. So I'll show that again. That's the paper cone using the text page of the Reader's Digest. Excuse me, I'm just going to get some water. So does anyone have questions? I'll show that rolling the cone again. So you're just taking from your stack of pages, and at the rough edge, now if you want to, if you don't like working with the rough edge, you can clean it up a little bit. That's fine. So you just fold it in half on the rough edge, and then you're creating the rolled cone like that. And then the other side folds around. Actually, you could have Scotch tape prepared beforehand. That would probably help. But that's the cone shape, and that's about the right width. That's on the other ones I've made here. That's about how they end up. So if they come up that width, that will be about 20 of these cones will create the wreath. So please unmute yourself if you have any questions. And let me also show you, so like I say, even if you want to add color to the wreath, you can use, well, you can use whatever paper you like, really. Anything that's this size is 5 by 7. So that's how to roll the cones.
Alice?
And let me just show you how it works with the color. So please go ahead and roll the cones. And like the library said, please don't feel rushed. This is being recorded, and I will allow some time for you to, you know, do the process as I'm describing it. You know, so now there's going to be at least 5 to 10 minutes where you can just, you know, make some cones. But you know, if you don't have 20 cones, don't worry. You're going to know how to make the wreath by the end of this, and it will also be on video. So I just don't want you to feel rushed. You know, just so if you want to add some color to the wreath, these illustrations are nice. I really I like the colors they used. So what you would do is put the color side down, and even if there's
they threw some illustrations in from a different book.
image with faces on it, or a This will become abstract. Once the cone shape is made, you'll just get the color on the cone. You don't really see. This is an example. So if you have some color, then the color goes face down, and then you would fold the cone, and then you'll see the color at the end when it's wrapped around. And then so this one,
Alice?
yes,
Sorry, excuse me. When you
it's
make
fine,
the
it's fine.
you make the cone, how tight is the point at the bottom?
It looks about like that.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, like I said, this will be covered up. The decoration, you'll have 20 cones on the wreath, and the decoration will be in the center. So it'll be covering up the end. But yeah, this is about how the bottom of the cone looks.
Okay. And you tape it at the bottom and you won't see that, right?
You won't see that, that's right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I would tape it in the bottom section. You might see it if I wouldn't tape it in the upper half. I think you would see
Right.
that, but yeah, I would just add the tape on the bottom part.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, you just adjust it so you don't want to end up with 2 points at the top. That's where this one was going. So you just move it where you need that shape. And let me show you, if you like to use the scrapbook or any other paper that you have. The important dimension is the 5 inches. The cone will work with the so as long as you have a 5-inch side. This is the Reader's Digest page is 5 inches wide and 7 inches high, and you're creating the cones kind of using the 5-inch. You know, that's the size. The 5 inches is the important dimension. So if you're using other paper, and like I say, if you make more cones in the future, you could use you know, spring colors, or you could use holiday colors. So basically, the cone will work even as small as 5 by 5. That's probably about the smallest you can go. But as long as you have that 5 inches, and that's the side that you are creating the roll on the 5-inch side, it will work. So this is 5-inch square cone, and it still works. And with the scrapbook paper, this paper is a little heavier, so might take a little more doing. You can add the Scotch tape, and then if you find it's not closing as well, then you just add some glue on this edge and hold it in place for, you know, 10 seconds, and then you'll be okay. So just to give you an idea, and you know, just giving you a starting point, really. You can take this, you know, if you think of other variations, that's good. So yeah, for the scrapbook paper, I think you would want to add a little bit of glue right along this edge, and then just hold it in place. The tape is not holding it as well. So that's how you make the cones. Does anyone else have questions? I'm just going to give you some time now, at least 5 minutes, and go ahead and roll some of the paper cones. And please let me know if you have any questions. Hope everybody's doing okay there. Are there any questions from anybody?
Is there anything to avoid with our cones? Like, is this okay? Everything is okay?
Oh, sorry, I can't see. I'm sorry, could you say, show me again?
Are these cones okay, like this?
Yes,
They're fine. I know one side is brownish and one is a little lighter, but it doesn't matter, right?
that's right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
Yes,
when we put them together, they'll be kind of like always like this, showing like,
yes.
okay.
Yep,
Yep.
they'll start going together. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they'll start going together like that. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, in a couple minutes, I'll show you. They're actually going to be lining up on the circle. So as you're making them, if you're moving ahead, these cones, you can start just setting them around the circle just to see. I'll show you more of that, but yeah, then you can start seeing how they'll fit.
Okay. And that would be on the edge of the circle, right? Up here? The edge?
Actually, no. Yeah, on the circle, you would want at least 2 inches, I think, because you need the glue needs to really hold that in there.
Yes, you're right. Plenty of
So
glue.
yeah, I would have them more toward the center.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'll give another few minutes of folding, making the cones, and then I'll start showing what to look for as you're putting them on the circle.
Thank you.
Sure. So yeah, I'll
Alice?
just yes. Uh-huh.
I was having audio problems at the start, so I didn't hear how big that cardstock circle is supposed to be.
Oh, sure. This is about the size of a CD,
Okay.
about 5 inches. And the way I did it, I left the fold at the top.
Okay.
Yeah, just for added strength. So the first one I ever made, I only used 1 cardboard, but I think 2 will work better to hold the light. So it's about a circle about the size of a CD.
Thank you.
Yep. So let me just show you that as you're making the cones, it's hard to see where everybody is when I'm not in the same room. So the in-person will be so much nicer. Hopefully later next year. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, so with this cardstock, so as you're making your cones, the circle will have the fold up. Think of this as the top. The fold is the top because this is where the ribbon will go underneath the fold. So that's basically how you don't have to put the ribbon in now, but just so you get the idea of what you're shooting for. So the fold is on the top, and then you start putting the cones around the edges, and you want at least, I would recommend just placing them around the circle first before you start. I mean, you can start gluing down, but it just kind of helps to see the whole shape for the next step. And so as you're making the cones, you can put them on the circle, and you want to check, I'll show you what the whole thing will look like. I have one that's almost done. So hopefully you can see this. This is the what 20 cones looks like. And I would, before you start gluing down, I would recommend take a step back and just look at the outer edge of the circle. That's where you want it to be the most like a circle. Don't worry about these inner points and how they're meeting, because this is going to be covered up. So as you're looking at your circle, keep an eye on the outer edge, because when you have it on the wall, that's what'll catch your eye, you know. So I just want to let you know about that. So how's everybody doing with the, still need a few more minutes? We're good on the time. It's only been half an hour, so we're doing fine with the time.
I don't have a glue gun right now, but would a glue gun be something good to use with this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that would work. And if you want to, before you glue, you can tape. That can come in handy. Like I did start gluing some of these down, but if you want to tape the bottom just to hold it in place, that's fine too, because this will be covered up so the tape won't show, and it'll just help keep it in place. Then you can go back later and get in there with the glue or the glue gun.
Okay.
We're gonna take a picture in front of that little thing, and then I'll clean for his map.
Okay.
But if you were to come and get
Sure,
it,
sure. I can do that because she's, yeah.
I'll tell you when we're ready.
So I'm just lifting the, changing the image. So now you can see the circle, the outer edges. So how about one more minute, and then I want to show you how to fold the decoration on the inside. And like I said, wherever you are right now in the process is fine, because you know, you'll know how to finish it up. So I'm not sure I don't know how the timing will work. I don't know if, I wouldn't recommend trying to glue it all down within an hour. You know, that would be rushing it, and it's probably better to just, you know, do it more slowly. All right, so let me show you the inner decoration. And this is what we're aiming for. This is just 4 fan shapes. So I'll show you how to make that. And really, like I said, this is just a starting point. You can use any, if you have another decoration, another image. This I just cut out from a catalog. I just liked the image, and that would go fine in the center. I didn't do a good job of cutting the circle, so I put it on this other background to kind of take your eye away from that uneven circle. But anything is okay for the center. Anything that's, you know, almost 4 to 5 inches that will cover the center, anything would work there. Then the only other consideration is that it's light enough where the light will come through. So the Reader's Digest page works pretty well for allowing the light to come through. So that's the only other, and like I said, the light is optional. The wreath works just fine without the light. Okay, so let me show you the center decoration. So this one that I made, you can use text pages and color. So anyway, I'll show you the fold. So this is the Reader's Digest. This is 5 by 7. So you're just folding this in half to find the center. And once you have the center, just cut it in half. And the text kind of helps you, cut along a straight line, following the text. And then you're just taking, well, let's see, we'll create four of these sheets. So now I'm going to cut a colored sheet just to add some color. So we'll start out with 4. These are 5 by 3.5 is what it works out to be. 5 by 3.5 inches. And for these, you do want to trim the edge. When you're taking out the page from the Reader's Digest, you'll end up with a rough edge. So these you do want to trim, because you'll see that when it's folded. You would notice that in the shape. So just trim the edges. And this is a good time to check that they're all roughly the same length. Of the pages. Okay, so now you are taking a sheet, and this is folded. We're going to create pleats or mountain and valley folds, if anyone has done origami. So just take the page, and on the lengthwise, fold it in half lengthwise. And open it up, and now put the fold this way. So this is like a mountain fold. Now turn the page over and then fold each edge into the center. So basically at this point, we're creating 3 mountain folds. So we fold each edge into the center. Now we have hopefully you can see that, 3 mountain folds. Now we turn it, the mountain folds on top. Now take the edge, and this is going into the mountain fold. So this is creating the pleats. So each time the edge is being folded to the next mountain fold. And if you want to see that a little better, you can just push the rest of the paper away, just so you can see the line you're folding to. Does anyone have any questions so far? This is just creating pleats. That's all. This step, it just we'll end up with the whole page folded. Okay, so each time the edge of the paper goes to the next mountain fold. So now we have the paper is pleated. Now at this point, put the pleats together and then fold it in half. And that creates the fan shape. And you just want to watch that the edges come out even. So then it's just gluing these two sides together. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'll go through this all again too. So now you have a fan shape, and now you add the glue all along this, whenever it wants to come out. You add the glue all along the side, glue the two edges together. Whoops. And you can hold it for a couple seconds. So this is creating the fan shape. And so this is just, you make 4 of these, and then you're gluing them together, and that creates the center. So this is, so I'll go through that again with the fan shape. So I'll show, if you have colored paper, then you just want to make sure the color stays. So you just fold it in half. And then turn it over with the color side down. Fold each edge into the center. And then you're creating the 3 mountain folds. Now keep the color on top. And now the edge of the paper is going to the first mountain fold. Whoops, did I do this wrong? Yep, I think I made a mistake. Yep, let's do that again. I made a mistake. We want to fold lengthwise. I was folding the width. So sorry about that. Okay, so this is the fold it lengthwise, create the mountain fold, then fold each edge to the center lengthwise. That's better. Now take the edge and fold it to the first mountain fold. And each time the edge goes to the next mountain fold. And if you can't quite see it, you can just fold the rest of the paper down out of the way. So you end up pleating the paper. So you fold the edge in, last edge. So now the paper is pleated. Then you fold it in half and then glue the 2 sides together. Okay. So then 4 of and that's where if the pages weren't the same length, this is where you would notice it when you're gluing one fan to the next fan. Then if it weren't the same length, you would see it. I've made that mistake, and then you just trim. If that happens, all you do is trim the excess on the fan. So this is how it will start to shape up. You're just putting glue there, then you'll be putting glue here. So if you want this center decoration for the wreath that looks like this, then I'll just give a few minutes and you can continue creating 4 fan shapes. And they will end up going together like that with the glue. I'm just showing you how the 4 fans go together with all the sides glued. So I'll give you a minute. Yeah, we have about 20, 25 more minutes, so we're doing pretty good with the time. Does anybody have any questions? And if you wanted to use the scrapbook paper for the center, that works also. As long as there's the 5-inch dimension on one side. This is a 5-inch square. As long as there's a 5-inch dimension that matches the length, you'll be fine. You could make it the width, the other dimension can vary a little bit. It could be 5 by 4. The Reader's Digest pages we're using here, this is 5 by 3.5. But as long as you have that 5-inch length, then you'll be fine. The fans will look fine. So the same folding would be, it'd be the same with scrapbook paper. So I'll just make this more like a 5 by 4. And I'll show you the folding. So while everyone's folding, I'll just fold along with you using the scrapbook page. How's everybody doing? Any
Good.
questions? So now with the fans, so I did some ahead of time. So I have 4 fan shapes. So you can also spread out the fan. Each fan would really be a fourth of the circle. So you could actually make 5 or 6 fans if you wanted to. That would just give you a slightly tighter shape, you know. But if making 4, then each fan, you just kind of pull it out. It should be 1/4 of the circle. So then you start gluing the 4 fans together. Oh, let me just show you this last part with gluing them together. So, and again, this is another choice that you have, making the wreath. The first wreath I made, the first decoration I made, I glued them all to the center. So this is 4 fans glued all the way to the center. So you still see the light behind it, but it's much kind of softer. And so then the next time I did it, I left a little space there. And so I don't know if you can tell. So when you're gluing the fans together, if you want to leave an opening, you can just leave like the last inch. Don't glue the last inch, and that would give you, it's so bright in here. Well, let me try. See if you can see the light isn't very bright here. With the opening, then that's the effect you get on the wreath. So I kind of ended up liking that one a little better. So if you can see, the 4 fan shapes aren't glued all the way to the edges. So that allows, and then the coffee filter is there. That's where the filter comes in handy. If you want to have that opening that looks like that, then you'll end up using the coffee filter and taping it onto the wreath, and then the 4 fans glued together, but not all the way to the edges. Do you see that? So that's one option. So in
And
other
where's-
words, leaving the opening, you would just glue this part of the fan and leave it open near the middle. So I'll just add some glue here. And leave it open. And the same with the other 3 fans. I'll glue them to each other and leave the last inch toward the center unglued.
And where is the coffee filter attached?
Yep, that will be on top. Okay, let me show you again. The coffee filter, so say you have the wreath coming together, you have the cones, pretend you have them glued down. The coffee filter, you'd cut out, I used 2. So if you fold it in half and then just cut the coffee filter, this will go over the center. So this is not the most elegant design. If anyone comes up with variations that work better, please go ahead. Yeah, so this will get taped or glued. As long as it's covering this center hole. This is the center hole, is where, hopefully you can see this. The center hole in the wreath is where the light will be coming out of. So as long as the coffee filter is glued goes over that hole, then that'll help soften the light. So you're just taping the filter over the hole. And then just keep an eye that, have it so the filter will be behind, your final decoration. So that should work. So that's the only thing to watch. You can just trim the filter wherever you need to. But basically I use 2 sheets. So it's going through 2 layers just to soften the light. And so it gets taped basically onto the paper cones. Or I guess you could glue it right onto the white cardboard. But what I did is I just taped it onto the paper cones, and that worked to soften the light. All right, so it's almost 2 o'clock. So I think we'll go for another 15 minutes or so. There's one more decoration I'd like to show you. Well, first let me stop. We will have time. I'll just show you one last very small thing that you can do with the pleat folds. Just a small decoration. So anyway, so I'll just go over the structure again. So I know I don't think everyone would have glued down the paper cones at this point, but just so you can see how this thing all fits together. So the cones will be glued onto the white cardboard. And like I say, you just keep an eye on the outer circle shape. When you're gluing, you just take a step back and make sure that it looks like a circle on the outer edge. It doesn't matter, if the cones, where they meet in the middle. So say you've got the cones glued down, then you're taping the coffee filter over that, and then your fan shape, or whatever center decoration, if you have another image that you'd like to put on there. And then basically to finish it off, it's a little tricky because this is pleated on the bottom, but you're basically just putting glue onto, especially where the edges, so it will sit and be glued onto the cones. Or if you had double stick tape or foam tape, there's some double stick tape that's very strong that would work also. So that's the construction of it. So it's the cardboard with the cones glued, and then I'll show you what the back looks like. The last thing you'll want to do is on the back, you'll put the ribbon under the fold. And that will hang up. Okay, so this is the, so you have the cones glued on the front. So then you can still open up the back. You put the ribbon here and tie a loop. And then the cones will be covering this. So this will be how you hang up the wreath. So you just tie a knot and create a loop there. So like I say, I'm sorry we're not meeting in person. It'd be a lot easier for me to see how everyone's doing. But for now, at least we have Zoom. Does anybody have any questions at this point? All right. Before we go, I just want to show you one last decoration that you can make with the paper fold. Very simple. It's just a small angel. So that's very easy to do. You would take the same pleats. This is the same dimensions that we used for the Reader's Digest page. This is 3.5 by 5 pleated paper. Then instead of folding it in half, you just fold it the top third down. So that's, and you have create 2 of those. And then that would create, you'd glue 2 of these together and then create the head out of rolled, you just roll up 1/2 inch of paper. So I just wanted to show you that. That's a simple ornament. And then I made one also using music paper, a copy of the music paper. So yeah, like I said, I'm sorry we're not meeting in person. So hopefully, does anybody have any questions? All right, so that is how to make the paper wreath. And I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you. This was really great.
Sure. Oh, good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for attending.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's really pretty.